Hello, my dear Cancer friends. This is your 2021 astrology prediction if you happen to have your sun or rising sign in Cancer. This year will be quite different with really different positions of the planets, and we are going to prepare for that during this video. Before we get started, I also want to share with you a special gift which I have prepared. You can download the January 2021 calendar completely free. Check the links below. There is a full version which, if you want to, you can get as well, which includes also a webinar for 2021. So we are preparing for a new start, for some new opportunities, and also for some changes. And 2021 can actually be very transformational for people who have a strong Cancer energy, sun or rising sign, because Jupiter and Saturn, the two social planets, are moving to your 8th house. 8th house is the house of transformations and exploring things and occult work, also spiritual work. From a more practical perspective, this can bring also potential critical situations or some kind of financial transformations as well. So the year can be quite intense. And from one side, you can expand in those areas because Jupiter is bringing abundance. And for example, your financial situation may improve, especially when it comes to resources that come to you from other people. It could be about inheritances. It could be about money coming from your partner, or sometimes even just having more clients and earning more money from them. It's not about doing something wrong. It's just about doing more work and earning those money that you get from others. Jupiter in 8th house can also be great for people who want to expand more in the spiritual area. It's an amazing time to focus on balancing our energy and also working with our body. Great time for yoga or any other energy practice that will allow you to balance your energy. And Jupiter will be in 8th house between January and the middle of May, and after that from August till December. So for the most part of the year, Jupiter is in 8th house. So it's about exploration, it's about focus on financial things. It's about also learning how to handle with critical situations in a more positive and wiser way. Jupiter is also triggering your 9th house during the summer, between the middle of May and the end of July. So this is a time when you can grow, you can expand, you can learn new things. It's an amazing time for education, for traveling, for all kinds of projects that are abroad or that include foreign partners. Keep in mind that Jupiter in 9th house is actually coming home. It means that Jupiter is coming to the house that it normally is associated to, which makes the planet more powerful and also more beneficial. So that's an amazing position. The summer can be especially positive for focusing on your goals, your philosophy, learning new things, traveling, working abroad, or with foreigners. And we need to mention that Jupiter is also having a square with Uranus, which will happen during January. And this square triggers 8th and 11th house, which means that there could be some kind of surprises, something which you are not expecting. It could be a moment of some breakthroughs or some new ideas. It's also an amazing time to change things that you would like to let go of or just to transform, especially when it comes to financial stuff and resources that include other people, and especially your friends, because Uranus is in 11th house, which may bring some kind of stress or some kind of change that may happen related to friends or other community groups, and also some financial projects and some management of resources. As we already said, Jupiter is not alone in your 8th house. Saturn is also moving there and will stay actually for the whole year. Saturn will be transiting between the 2nd and the 14th degree of Aquarius. So it would be great if you can find when or if Saturn will cross the cusp of your 8th house. And if you're not sure about those sign positions, those degrees, you can use my free birth chart calculator. Link is below. So with Saturn in 8th house, it means that we also need to be very serious. I'm saying we because I'm also a Cancer ascendant, so I'm one of you. So we need to be more careful, more serious, more responsible when it comes to financial matters, when it comes to money or other resources that come from others. And this Saturn position from one side can make us more responsible and also more willing to put some kind of structure when it comes to those resources, organizing them, or maybe having a clear perspective, what we want to achieve. For some people, this may also be the time to maybe let go of something, maybe stop relying on other people and focus more on their own independence, especially when it comes to money and resources. On the other side, Saturn in 8th house can make us even more focused on some research, on exploring, learning something, especially if it's something kind of secret, or it's more about, let's say, human nature or human psychology, something which is not so obvious, so pragmatic, but it requires to dive deeper, to explore something, and maybe to do this more on your own. Again, Saturn is squared by Uranus, but this will happen 3 times during February, June, and December. Those could be some potentially critical moments or moments of changes and transformations. And there could be some kind of surprise, something that we are not expecting, something that maybe needs to be transformed or destroyed or totally changed. It applies specifically to our resources, to money, and also communities, our friendships, and groups of people we connect to. So as we can see, Jupiter and Saturn really trigger 8th house during the year, quite significant. About Uranus, we need to mention the exact degrees. Uranus will be between the 7th and the 15th degree in Taurus. Again, make sure to check the cusps of your houses through the calculator, which is in the description below. And if Uranus is crossing the cusp of your 11th house, first of all, it means that Uranus is coming back home. Uranus is normally associated to 11th house, so that's good news. But also, this is time to focus on some socially important causes, something that's very dear to your heart and your mind as well. Maybe find a new group of people, maybe socialize with people, or frankly, nowadays it may just mean finding different ways to connect to people. With Uranus, it's not a surprise. We talk about technology, we talk about modern ways to socialize, to connect, maybe to organize some groups or to gather people in a more untraditional way. It's very positive if Uranus is having a sextile with your sun or rising sign in Cancer. That would be the case if your sun or rising sign is between the 7th and the 15th degree in Cancer, of course. Moving on next to Neptune. Neptune is our friend because Neptune is in 9th house and Neptune is in a water sign, which means that there is a positive, harmonious connection between Cancer and the Neptunian energy in Pisces. I'm a fan of Neptune. I have admitted that multiple times. And for me, it's about inspiration. It's about connecting to something higher, bigger, and much more significant than ourselves. Neptune in ninth house is also great for learning more about the invisible world, about spiritual matters or creativity. It's about inspiring yourself and doing something, focusing on some inspirational goals. This is an especially important aspect if Neptune has a trine with your ascendant. So if your ascendant is between the 19th and the 24th degree in Cancer, it means that Neptune will trine it. And trust me, it's a very good influence. To tell you something personal, last year I had this. I will have it also during 2021, this type of aspect, Neptune trining the ascendant. And actually it was very, very positive. I focused more on some creative work. I started singing, something which I have dreamed of for a long time, and many, many other creative projects. So if that's the case with you as well, enjoy this, do something meaningful with that. And just learn more about this invisible, beautiful world. The last outer planet is Pluto, which will be in 7th house in Capricorn between 25th, 27th degree. Again, the biggest question, where is your sun or rising sign? Which degree specifically? And if Pluto happens to make opposition with your sun or rising sign, this is a time of personal transformations. And to tell you the truth, it's a serious transit. So it's not something that you can neglect, you can just overlook or forget about it. With Pluto, it just doesn't work like that. You need to be very focused. You need to go through this transformation yourself. And at first, it might feel painful. It might feel like, okay, there are so many things that are beyond my control and so many things I need or I want to change. So it's a deep personal work, which may also include communication with other people. Someone else can be the one who triggers those transformational processes, or sometimes there could be even some kind of more critical situations in our relationships, which are actually a wake-up call, which are showing us that it is time for a change. Moving on to the nodes and eclipses, also something really important. The North Node is in Gemini in 12th house. And the North Node is showing us the area where we need to focus on, we need to dive, we need to explore. And 12th house is quite serious. It's also about deep things. It's about exploring the past. It's about healing, some spiritual work. It's also about spending more time alone, spending more time in isolation. And it seems like this could be an important matter, an important theme during this year, because North Node triggers 12th house, but also Jupiter and Saturn trigger 8th house. And those are two of the most serious, deepest houses which require self-exploration, some private work, and also some healing work. The eclipses are, as you can see, the May eclipse triggers our 12th and 6th house, which means finding the balance when it comes to health and work and spirituality and all of those matters. Then the June eclipse triggers even more the 12th house area, which is about healing. It's about letting go of the past and also some kind of spiritual work. The November eclipse is triggering more our 11th and 5th house, which is more about finding the balance when it comes to our heart and our mind. It's about finding the balance also between love and friendship and overall focusing on something creative, something that we want to do. And finally, the December eclipse triggers 6th house. It will be about letting things go. It will be about separating with something or finishing and completing something. It may trigger our health. It may trigger work, everyday situations, and just trigger us to change a little bit our habits. Okay, and next we will talk about some retrograde phases. During 2021, Venus will be retrograde, but at the very end of the year, so after the 19th of December. Venus will be retrograde in Capricorn in 7th house, which is a pretty interesting position since Venus is actually the planet which is associated to 7th house. And it's all about love. It's about relationships and love and our desires and our partners and things that we may need to change or things that we may need to restart if we want to. And perhaps just finding a different perspective when it comes to our desires and our closest relationships. The other retrograde phases, as usual, are those of Mercury. Mercury will be retrograde 3 times during the year, only in the air signs. The first retrograde phase triggers 8th house, which is about the same position where Jupiter and Saturn are. And it's about financial matters. It's about transformational healing work, maybe something that needs to be shifted in those areas. Then during the summer, Mercury will be retrograde in 12th house, which is even deeper exploration and maybe going through our emotions and some kind of reassessment of the past. And the last Mercury retrograde phase will be in our 4th house. It's about exploring our own past or our family history, or maybe restoring or fixing things that are related to our family situation, our home, the place where we live. So the important thing about these Mercury positions are actually the water houses. Mercury triggers the water houses 4th, 8th, and 12th house. So it's about emotional triggers, it's about healing, it's about going through the past, letting it go, and re-evaluating our emotional and personal life. So with that, my friends, we covered the most important events during 2021. As you can see, the biggest focus is 8th house, but also 12th house. There could be some deep transformations, great time for some healing, and also for spending more time to nurture ourselves and to take care of ourselves. Don't forget to take your free gift. The January 2021 calendar is completely free for you. And if you want to, you can purchase the full version for the calendar, which includes also a full webinar. We are having an in-depth webinar about 2021, what's in front of us, how to prepare, how to get the most of it, and many other exciting news. Thank you so much for watching this video and have a wonderful 2021.